quick demo of what we're going to be looking at here. Just wanted to make sure it was up and running properly. So you guys should be able to see me in there. You said you worked with FLIR. What did you work, where?
Oh, no, I was just familiar with it. I've not really ever worked with it. But...
Gotcha. Well, this is a FLIR.
Right.
So this is a LT1 Pro. We just upgraded it because the last one we thought the software issue was a hardware issue. So we bought a new camera, and I was like, worst case scenario, I have an updated camera.
Right.
But anyway, it's giving us the coldest spot. That's what that blue dot is moving around on there, if you could see it. I also put the center crosshairs on there, so that way you can kind of pinpoint wherever you want to. I think that's nice and easy to use. But we're going to try to keep somebody in view at all times, because obviously our skin is going to be warmer than anything else out here. Which, by the way, thank you for picking a nice breezy night. I've been carrying around equipment in these hot summer days, and this is going to be really nice for me. But anyway, we're going to try to keep somebody in view, because when you take me out of the picture, the red, orange, and yellow is going to go somewhere else. Right. So blue and black are our coldest spots. As you can see, it's going straight to the black spot, and it's saying that that's about 71 degrees, 70 degrees. I would say anything that dips below 65, I'm going to get excited about. I'm going to carry a millimeter, and I'll explain how that works, but it kind of works in tandem with this when you find something that's that cold. For your convenience, I did leave the bar up here, so it's going to give you the cold and the hottest point. Okay. So that way, I mean, if you don't want to watch where the dot's going, you can watch where the bottom is here. The problem with that is that the bar doesn't show up on the recording, only the dots. Okay. So that's just for field work. So you're going to hold it like that all night. Right. The camera is right here, and that way the red square means it's already recording. I'll tell you the start and stop points, but we want to go ahead and leave it on for now, just so you can kind of get used to it. But again, you're going to be kind of a cameraman all night long. All right. So, and because that camera is so expensive, you only get one device. Harley's going to get two. Let's go straight into spirit boxes, because you're going to use two different kinds. I use 3, sometimes 4, just depending on like how the night is going, because I'll use one based off of my phone because it works a little bit differently. But this one we'll start you off with. This one is going to sweep through the FM radio stations just like the ones on TV, only this one is slowed down. I want the radio chatter to come through. Disembodied voices are a rarity. I might get one every 2 months or so. So again, I want you guys to have something to go off of. You can also use these by using that radio chatter to kind of decipher if it's relative to the place where we're at, a person in history we're discussing, so forth and so on. So if something comes through on a commercial and it says 50% off, I'm looking for the number 50. What does that mean? Is it a year? Is it somebody's age? Is it this? Is it that? So again, the cool thing is this is going to record the entire session, even when I say, Harley, go ahead and turn it down. That way I can kind of give you the history. It's going to record at a nice even level. I don't know how it does it, but it's why I have it. So you guys get this full recording back. I do give you about 15 to 20 markers of things that I find, whether they're relevant or not. In the event you find something tonight, because this isn't an easy job, I will write it down just so we don't lose it. So I always carry a little notepad with me. I'm a writer, so that's the day job, guys. I write books about death, and then nobody buys books anymore, so I get to take.
We deal with death daily, so.
Well, I'm sure you do. Which is always interesting when I have EMTs with me, just because I never know what I'm going to get. Sometimes you guys bring folks with you.
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
You have one button to worry about on this guy. It's a little wheel at the top right where my index finger is. You're going to control the volume. Okay. So again, obviously when I'm talking to you guys as a whole, we're going to keep it down because it's recording anyway. The second one I'm going to give you might seem a little cheesy, but this probably gives me the most evidence out of everything. So this is a spirit box from an actual app. The app, here's what I'm going to tell you about the app. Well, you've seen the spirit boxes, they give you words, like an ovulus, right, on TV. Same principle. It's going to give us words in the center of the screen, save them all to a list with timestamps. That helps me with learning like what to listen for on there and to watch on your video. Sometimes it'll tell me like, hey, no camera, bad picture, things like that. And a lot of times that's where something went wrong on the video. It's crazy how this shit works. So you guys get the full list back. My last tour had 67 terms. It's been about average for a 90 minute to 2 hour tour. We're going to clear them out to start you guys off fresh because they already have theirs. In the event something is relevant, either on there or here, I'm always going to give you the explanation why. I put it in bold, and then I'm going to give you a backlink so you guys can verify the information. It's where I get my information from. So again, this is, if you guys were looking for scary, sorry, we're not going to be dealing with any malevolent anybody tonight. It's all about real history. So this is almost like a ghost hunting 101 class. So your first word is going to be remain. Let's see if that's actually, nope. So it's going to be whatever the next word is going to be the first word on there. So again, you don't have to do anything with this. You get to the, I'll say, Harley, where are we at with the list? You don't have to show me every term. Just hit the little scroll to the right and then circle back. Those are the only two buttons on there. Even though you're double-fisted, I try to make things nice and easy. So for me, I'm going to be using the millimeter, so that'll stay in my pocket, and I'll whip it out from time to time, only because we need an EMF, which is like the blinky lights that they show on TV. This one is a lot more accurate, so it has an EMF built in, and it's digital. So the top number, anything above 2.5, is the second green dot on a K2 EMF meter. So that's what I go by here. If it gives me a pattern, 2.5 to 3, 2.5 to 3, it's usually something man-made, a lot more accurate. So my phone is going to make it go up, and it's going to stay there. See how high that is? Like, that's crazy. It's all over the place. I'll be looking for things like that, like big variances, but then back down to 0. So I'll be looking for that zeros in between to be able to determine if it's anything paranormal or not. The bottom number is ambient temperature. If you find something on there, I'll be able to find out what it is based on the ambient temperature right here. So a lot of times I'll shut this part off because it's not always necessary. Again, I'm lucky to get 1 to 2 pieces out of that thing every quarter. So that's telling right now it's 79.4 degrees based on a little thermometer here, but it's also a REM pod. Are you familiar with a REM pod?
Mm-mm.
So a REM pod detects motion. So we're pretty close to the, I point it down because it's super bright. I'm going to wait for it to reset. Perfect. So if something gets close to the antenna, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher it's going to go. Now obviously it's got different colors on there that you guys can see. A lot of times I'll use this as a call and answer. If somebody's here, make it go to blue and stay there. I'll make sure I'm not near an area that has wiring because it will go off based on parking meters and any kind of other EMF that's going to go interrupting. You guys can see my hand is making it go off. So what's happening here is there's an EMF around the antenna. When something breaks it, it kind of kinks a little bit. I can reset it to make sure that it's not something paranormal. And I can kind of get it back straight up again. So I don't always keep this guy on. I'll do it in our hotspots. It gets very distracting when I'm trying to give you guys history. So I'll keep that in my side pocket. So recap of what you guys are going to actually get back. You're going to get the full audio back, which is in the leaves right now. You're going to get obviously the full recording back, the spirit box recording, and then the full word list and tons of links. Fingers crossed we actually capture quite a bit of paranormal activity tonight.
Say Norman?
Norman. So anything that has names or numbers, names and numbers don't lie. So I usually have to dive in. I don't always find out what it means. But Norman could have been, and let me kind of get into the story, and that's the reason why we start here. So Big John's Tavern. This was a bar also back in 1955. That's nice that they put that established on there. All the way, I think it closed down in 77, reopened again, but it's been all over the place. But Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. He used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough. So John has the bartender throw them out. They get pretty pissed, they leave. Come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. You guys are going to make me talk tonight, I can feel it. Anyway, John sees what's going on with the cash register. He starts beating the hell out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of shots go off and John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. John didn't die. Instead, he gets up and he goes back to the bar. He tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the guys on the floor in ambulance. Why? Because the bullet landed in the wall is what's haunting the place. Got his blood on it. It was here before they were renovating the place. It used to be a place called Cane Rum Bar just before this new establishment that you guys see now. It wasn't even this color last week. It was like a weird tan color. But anyway, people that sit in the front of the bar will get a little queasy, nauseous headache. Part of the reason why I bring this up. In the event you guys feel any of those kind of symptoms, obviously you're EMTs, you'll know what to do, but you got to let me know so we can get you the hell out of the area. Psychics that usually take this tour don't make it through. I'll just be honest. So if you're any kind of psychic or medium, people usually disclose that pretty quickly. They get all excited because they're talking to somebody that understands their language, but people have passed out from this tour, not from the summer heat, just from the activity. So it does happen. But what I do get when I'm close to this bar are Big John's teammates. So, vapor. That's also interesting. I vape a lot. I don't normally see that word on there, so it's going to be interesting.
He does too. He vapes a lot.
Not a lot.
You vape a lot.
I'm a writer. I vape a lot. I was a 2-pack a day smoker before I started vaping. And then I moved down here, and you can't smoke inside anywhere. I'm originally from Ohio. So when I moved down here, I was like, oh, shit, I got to find something else to do because I don't leave my desk. I'm a writer. So anyway, back to this place. If you guys took other tours, you should have heard about our our big earthquake. Did anybody mention our earthquake in 1886?
We heard it on the carriage ride today, too.
Carriage ride really goes off on that.
Because one of the towers is kind of leaning a little bit.
The steeple over by St. Philip's. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The mantle you guys see in the middle also it goes around to the front. So a piece of that broke off from the earthquake, struck somebody in the back of the head, and apparently killed him, and they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. It's a lot of apparently and allegedlys because I don't have any proof of that story. It's just a great segue for when I have kids and moms that are worried about getting sick on the tour, so kind of gets their minds off of it. And again, that's one of those through the grapevine stories. All right, you guys ready to get rolling?
Yeah.
Bored yet?
No.
No.
All right, come on. We're gonna go this way. You're gonna hear me say a lot when I have a group of 10. This is normally how we go about things. The places, like I said, that I take you guys to are to where I can have a group of 10 actually spread out. So it's not just about like, all right, everybody wrap around the building and see if any EMFs go off. Oh, it's really dark back here tonight. Super dark back here. Super weird. I might actually break out the full spectrum just because it's so damn dark. I have a full spectrum camera that kind of shoots off the long range light and a short range, so that way we can actually see in the dark. It's better when you have it in the dark. So we bought it because we have a St. Augustine lighthouse investigation coming up. If you're a TV watcher, you've probably seen a St. Augustine investigation.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts?
No.
Okay, so that's how all of this started, was with a podcast, and I still have it. It's called Stories in the Cemetery, same name. But another horror podcast called me to interview me based on my tour. I kind of emailed them as a stupid fan, and they said, we'd love to have you on the show. I'm like, well, shit, that's free advertising. So I got on, and then invited me to their St. Augustine investigation with the gear. Like, all right, cool, bought my tickets, blah, 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 ready to go, plan the trip, get an Airbnb, wife's good to go. He calls me back, and he says, no, we don't want you to be part of it. We want you to lead it. We're going to refund your tickets, and you're going to lead the investigation. I'm like, okay, that's how this is going to go. So I leave next week for Florida right after I move. So moving a 3-bedroom apartment to a 4-bedroom house, and we leave 2 days later for Florida.
It's real beautiful down here.
Well, at least the weather will be good. So, but it's a matter of getting the dogs used to the house, and then we got to take them with us. So it's a lot of back and forth for them. Anyway, enough about my life. Chris is like, get on with it, man.
Oh, no, I'm just listening.
All right, so this is what I call the Big Red Barn Lot. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell the ponies, right? So they are in the barn in the front. This is an interesting place because there's not a lot of history here, but we're still close to Big John's. This is normally when I have my group of 10, I bounce around with every single person and I go through more tactics than just, okay, here's your stuff, let's go. It just kind of shows them a little bit more so that way when we go into deeper history, they know what they're doing. Because I do say, okay, spread out. I'll start meeting up with you guys in like 5 minutes. Let's do this. So with this, the only history here is this is the same red barn where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So we're talking about 1860s and 1920s, roughly. So spirit boxes, this isn't TV. Kind of keep that in mind. This is not, is somebody here?
Right.
If they say no, somebody's here. So we kind of get that mentality off of our chest. We're going after specific details, which is why you guys are here. You want proof of the paranormal. At least she does anyway. So, sorry I'm going to rag on you all night.
You're fine.
If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're going to be looking and listening for the color red. However, red can also be misconstrued or misinterpreted into another term that is specifically red, like fire truck, blood, heart. What color is the big red barn? Fire truck. I'm going to take it because the DJs and song lyrics aren't always going to give us the color red. It's like Bumblebee from Transformers. So you kind of have to think of it that way. Have you ever seen that movie? No? Well, alright, so Bumblebee didn't have a voice box. He had the radio to be able to portray messages to whoever he was speaking to. It's the same concept. We're just taking whatever clues they give us. Now, they might work in tandem. So, Norman, I don't know if there is a Norman on Big John's team, but if you get a number and that there is a Norman and his jersey number is the number that you heard, we obviously have a definitive connection. So, a lot of the stories I'm going to go through tonight actually have multiple people with the same name. It's a problem. I need to know who the hell I'm talking to. So if I have a George, I need to know, is it the father, is it the son? Kind of mentality. So again, I always look for the second clue. I'm not going to make shit up for you guys. That's not what this is. This is actual legitimate ghost hunting. So I think you have the concept that we have to keep somebody in view at all times, as much as we possibly can.
Right.
So I won't go into the whole video thing with you. So let's turn up your spirit box a little bit, and then I want to see what's going on with your word list. That is going really slow. You have 2 names. So you have Dawn, and then you have number 3. That is weird. I don't think I've been using this app for 5 years. It has 9,000 terms. I think I've seen most of them, if not all of them. I don't think I've ever seen it say number before an actual number. That's really, really weird. So I'm going to be diving into that one for sure. Let's say single as well, and alone. Kind of a stretch, because 3 is a single-digit number. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that. But go ahead and circle back. We're going to walk slowly through the rest of the slot on our way to the next location, but I want you to get used to how that is. And I'll kind of spout off what I hear out of it too. That way you can kind of get the gist of it.
Ooh, car.
Oh, this is a private lot.
What?
Again, you guys kind of lucked out with your own private deal because I'm almost sold out for the weekend. Like, there's not many tickets left.
I think we looked at doing last night? No.
I don't remember.
We just sold out another time we looked.
So Wednesday.
Maybe it was Wednesday. We got here Wednesday.
Yeah, because you guys.
Yeah, we got here
Wednesday.
You guys booked your tickets, I think, on Wednesday. And I shut it down only because I didn't have anything going on at like 4 or 5 o'clock. And my wife was off. So I was like, oh, we can have dinner together.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, all right, I'll shut it down and then kind of see what happens for the weekend. So Saturday sold out this morning. And there's tickets left for Friday and Sunday. So again, private tours during the week. I'm expecting this at least for another week or 2 while people get acclimated to school. We're going to go into this crazy line. Where is this? I can look to see what phase it is. Maybe at the first quarter. Oh, see, we're getting close to a new moon. Normally, on a new moon is when I get my crazy activity. Most people say it's a full moon, but that's a full moon on Earth. You have to think of the paranormal, whatever plane they're on, because I don't have those answers. That's probably their full moon. So that's when all the shit normally goes nuts for me. You have garden. Beautiful. That works out perfectly right where we're at. Alright, so, did you hear anything out of that? Because I was talking too much.
No, I don't think I heard
Nah,
that.
Again, we're not to get disembodied voices on there. It's a rarity. I do get them, but it's just a matter of what else is going to come up. So let me give you the gist of what this place is, and then we'll really deep dive because we're going to spend a good 10 minutes here. I know it's just another parking lot. We can turn that one down. I know it's just another parking lot. I'm actually excited about garden, and you're going to realize why here in a minute. So this place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Other tourists won't come here because there's nothing to see. It's just a parking lot. However, we're going to imagine 10 people with laser beams and all kinds of shit running around. So their mansion sat in the front. Eliza's garden was over here, and that's important to the story, by the left tree and came all the way across, and we're standing. Not yet, Eliza. We just got here. I do have disembodied EVPs that say, just leave us alone. And it's a male voice. So you have to imagine all the software I have to be able to interpret that stuff because it's very faint if you're just listening to it. We didn't catch it in real time. But anyway, we're standing where the slave and servant quarters would have been back here for the home. So who the hell were Charles and Eliza? Charles and Eliza, they had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses. See why I always need that extra clue? The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. It's a big deal for us. However, you guys are on vacation. Nobody wants to talk about politics, especially me. So let's talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to be giving you answers here like what color is George Washington's white horse, by the way. It's like what we did with the Red Barn. You're going to have to get the answers from your spirit box. I will give you whatever is missing. I'll give you all the stuff in between before we leave this location. I'll do that with all of our stops, so that way you're not left hanging. I don't like to put subliminal messages in your head, so that way you're like, oh my god, I heard red. I don't want to do that with every stop. That's a learning curve. So, married Charles at a young age because her dad over in England thought he was dying. He wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying. She got married. This is the 1740s, so this was actually out of love. It wasn't an arranged marriage, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So, very weird gap in between them, especially for the 1740s. Dad didn't die. He starts sending over gifts. Eliza was right. She didn't think he was going to die, and he didn't. At least not yet. The gifts he was sending over, one of them happens to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye. It makes our blue jeans blue. You're wearing it right now. So that's how we still use it. Interesting thing is that she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated in our cold temperatures. It does get cold here in the wintertime. You guys are from South Carolina. You know this already. Sorry, you said Marlboro County. I know exactly where you're at.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I drive through from Ohio to get here. So when I go back home, that's the way I go through.
Okay.
Not to mention
I know
filled out
Yankees
the-
from there. I got family from Ohio.
What part?
Oh god, I don't even know. They don't move.
I'm from Youngstown, and those
No,
people are
it starts
stuck.
with an O.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know, to be honest with you. We don't communicate anyway.
See, I don't go to Ohio. My in-laws are in Pittsburgh, so I do go to Pittsburgh, but I go up through North Carolina. I don't even hit Marlboro County, but I do know where Marlboro County is. But anyway, back to Eliza. Where were we?
Learning how to cultivate it in the cold.
Got it.
It's
So-
kind of weird you say that because the house we bought, they literally just tore down the slave house. Like, we still
Yeah,
had,
there
like,
was
old
a
renovations.
slave house behind it still, and they tore it down last year.
Yeah, early last year, and that's when everything kind of.
They poured a cement pad there to build
Even worse.
a shop on.
Nobody's happy there, so.
So, there's EMF, like the thing I'm using in my pocket. You can get an app for that. This shit actually works. I don't know how. I test that stuff all the time. At the top of your data page tomorrow morning, I have all of the tools and all of the apps that I trust, so that way you guys don't have to spend any money. So go play around on that pad and see what you can actually get. It doesn't have to be nighttime either. This is just ambiance for you guys. Like, nobody wants to go something during the daytime except for me. So like, they don't give a shit what time of day it is. It's people think of ghost hunting as scary, so I do it at night. Anyway,
They broke down the slave house.
you did break it down. It's going to be interesting what we actually get out of this now that you guys are bringing ghosts with you. So once she had it figured out and experimented with it here, she moved it to a farm in Mount Pleasant that's just north of here. You guys said you were staying in Francis Marion, which apparently, I think there's ghosts there too.
Supposed to be one named Ned.
Every hotel has a ghost. Next summer, the wife and I are doing a round robin of all the hotels for podcast episodes to see what's real and what's not, see if they actually have their claims.
Is your wife into this kind of thing?
My wife went to school. I went to school for writing.
Okay.
So my main job is blogging and doing the podcast, and of course, storytelling. My fiction books are about death and the afterlife. So if you're getting into Greek mythology and reincarnation and shit, that's what I write about. My wife went to school for graphic design. She designs the logo. She does my book covers.
Okay.
She does anything that I need for social media. If I need stuff with flashy, blinky stuff, to draw attention, she does all of that in for me. Like the St. Augustine thing, like she knows how to do all of this. She's just not on every tour. She has a regular job. So this is all of her side gigs. So she does book covers and all that, graphic design stuff for clients, but it's not built up to the point where she can leave her day job yet. Unlike what I'm doing now. Like, I walked away from a 6-figure salary and said, I'm going to go ghost hunting for a living. And she said, you're crazy, do whatever you want. So, love that woman. Anyway, moved it to Mount Pleasant, and then she called her dad up and was able to say, getting all kinds of mess already. I'm going to be interested in what comes up on the recording. She calls her dad because she needs somebody to sell this indigo to. She starts selling it overseas. Boom, we have a businesswoman in middle of colonial times. Absolutely unheard of. We're not even a colonization yet because she's selling this stuff. Rice plantations were going downhill at the same time, so she kind of swooped right in, and indigo was expensive. So indigo, you guys have seen it throughout time. Just think of the Civil War. You guys are Southerners. You know that the North wore blue coats, we wore gray coats. Gray coats were less indigo than the blue coats, and they also used wormwood to kind of make it that grayish tint. So again, it is in a lot of stuff that we still use. A lot of weird facts about Eliza that we can ask about. Eliza, how old were you when you died? Where did you die? What did you die from? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? These are all questions I'm giving you that I've had answers to. If you want to go rogue, obviously we're going to be together. I'll know what those rogue questions are. So that way, if I don't know the answer, I can at least look them up to see if something's relevant. You can obviously ask what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. Then you can ask when that happened, when they tore it down, whatever tragedy happened to it, whatever you guys come up with as far as the spirit boxes. Popularity. It's going to be interesting. These are all very vague. I need something more specific. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So he was married to one Eliza, she died, he married this one. Yeah, kind of a jerk move. But they both have a maiden name that starts with the letter L, so that's what they go by. Eliza L. Pinckney. So find out what the L stands for. Obviously the marriage thing, you can ask how old she was when they got married, how old he was, how many years in between them, you know, those kind of things. The children, let's get into that real quick before we kind of start walking around and seeing what's happening, because you're getting a lot of stuff already. The kids, there's a tragedy among them. So if you're going to ask about the kids, maybe get how many there were, what their names are, how many boys, how many girls, simple stuff. Leave it alone. All activity will stop. So I'm going to be using my millimeter in here as we kind of do a couple of laps just to see what we're getting. The millimeter will kind of give us the hot spots of where, like I'm already at, like it went up to 9.7, 10.3, and now back down to 0. So again, it's all over the map. But I'll pull out the REM pod as well to see if I have any motion. Now this thing will pick up my motion, so a lot of times you might see me set it down so to make sure it's not going to be me. So I'll kind of do some experiments with that. That way you guys don't have the teacher over your shoulder. People get a little weird about cameras in their cars, so if somebody's going to their vehicle, just casually hold a cell phone, kind of like what you are now. You don't want to be the YouTuber, you know, kind of guy out there. People get a little funny about that. But after this location, we'll stop your recording. I'll give you the answers of what's missing in between. I would say if you guys want to go ahead and start making your laps, I'm going to go in whatever opposite direction you guys go in after I check you guys in on the app that you guys bought your tickets straight from the week. So I'll have to check you guys in real quick, give you a head start, and we'll see what we can capture. So turn that spirit box up, and you'll have some fun. If you go rogue on a question, just try to remember what they are.
Because of us.
So if you guys brought somebody with you, you can also ask that too.
I'm really interested in the age gap because me and him have an age gap. So.
How big is that age gap?
12
years.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I don't even
A
know.
lot of people don't realize.
I don't even know who's older at this point.
Me.
So my first fiance, feels like ages ago, like there was 7 years difference between us. There are no, well, we don't know if there's bones here. They've never done an archaeological dig here, so there's no reason why this guy should be going off. The only reason I know that is because we want to open a store, me and the wife. We sell the equipment. When you have words like this, try to keep that into a conversation. What kind of fighting are you talking about? Because there's wars involved with this family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it could be something like they're just trying to give us whatever they can grab, but try to get something a little bit more specific. But we've been looking at this land because we would rebuild the Pinckney Mansion as the store with a haunted hotel above. Everybody gets a kit for the night. We teach you how to use it. We get you all the, obviously all the
really
data
cool.
back. It's
I
going to
would
be
definitely
expensive.
that. I wouldn't care.
So we're going to do $500 a night, and it'll sleep 10
Well,
people.
shit, that's about what we paid Francis Mary.
Well, not for one night, but still.
But, I mean,
It'll be an experience.
Yeah, you're paying for an experience.
Yeah, so again, we already have hotel managers lined up. I've got 2 people on standby to be extra guides so I can actually run the store. I've got 2 techs waiting. Like, we've got a crew waiting. We just need the $20 million to build this place up. Because we want to do the dig. We want to get the artifacts from this grounds into the rooms to stir the pot. Again, this is natural history. This isn't anything malevolent. Like I said, we're not going to do anything malevolent. But yeah, go wander. Let me check you guys in, and I'll follow up with you guys in a minute. So kind of find out where the whatever words are coming through. Start listening to that thing pretty attentively. Don't want to break that back.
You got me. Well, you want to go walk the lot?
Take a walk, see what comes up.
yeah, that's fine.
Because back here, I can't prove anyone can see it. There's no record though.
You got to be in view of the camera.
I'm sorry.
It's seeing that big old donk.
I'm recording that.
It is recording. Yours is recording too.
So her name was Eliza, right?
Yeah, Eliza.
Eliza, what was your middle name?
Back into something on the thing.
How big was your age gap? Your husband? When did the building get torn down?
Look. Sky?
What do you want to tell us tonight? How all these devices work. I'm going to set this down on this curve over here.
Was she kidnapped?
It's like hostage and it's like regular.
Huh.
Why do I have all these lines coming up? What's happening here?
You might want to ask. I'm not 100% sure.
Ain't that something different?
I don't know. Go ask her.
Any words coming up?
Yeah, I've had fighting, sky, active hostage, graveyard drink.
I got nothing on that. I just have to make that antenna go up to blue.
Nevertheless.
Nevertheless.
Oh, ask about the lines. You were asking about that.
This thing right here would shoot up high and
It's meant for the aesthetics of it. Like, it's meant to try to scare you, so it's going to vibrate. It's got weird growling noises and shit that come out of it, too. All I care about are the words. The game we're playing is, does it come from the app, or is it a ghost giving us the word? That's why it's only, most of it doesn't mean anything. 80% of it is garbage. It's the other 5 to 20. And I've had some nights where it's closer to 50% that actually is very relative to the locations. Other nights, I might get 1 or 2 terms out of it. I never know. So I'm just keeping my ear peeled for that beeping. Have you heard anything out of this box? It's not an easy box to listen to, is it?
It's very hard to focus on.
You can turn it up a little bit. Maybe I can help you with things that I hear. Not easy, and it's as slow as it can go.
What happened in 51? Anything happened in 51?
No. But it could also be an age, but none of the kids died at that age. Could be a jersey number to Big John. We're still only 1 block away. What was that? I don't know that song.
Turning something.
No standing. Tequila.
That just set on fire, didn't it? What do you think happened to the mansion?
It burned down?
It burned down. Anything related to a fire, I get excited about it. Did you even ask that? Anything?
I said what happened.
It's not going to always be an immediate answer.
Abnormal.
Abnormal. It was an abnormal fire. But I'm not going to go into adjectives. That doesn't make any sense. Staying steady, isn't it, over there?
Marriage.
Eliza, tell us what year you got married. Or tell us who you married. Just give us some kind of proof you're here. Give us something about your marriage. Later on in life.
Actual.
Staying steady as whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we did get the word fire, so let me put it up where the fire occurred. I was getting high EMF readings over this way. Out of this guy.
Or me.
It's really vague. It's relative, but too vague for me to really say, like, okay, it was this. I mean, the fire thing, that was pretty definitive. I'm listening. Number 3 is boggling to me, by the way. I've never seen that. Repair the manor.
We were talking about that.
But they didn't repair the manor. After that, I believe it was torn down. Again, I saw the color blue out of this guy over here, so I'm still waiting. Fortunately, ghost hunting is very patient work.
I imagine so.
Love someone. Again, all very vague. Alright, let's go through some answers. I'm not getting much out of this. The repair the manor thing, again, loosely relevant. Because they didn't repair it after the fire. That was a fire in 1861. We heard the number 51. And we could have misheard it in real time, so obviously I'll be listening for that in the morning, just to see if it actually matched up. Great fires, we had dozens of them here in Charleston, so I'm sure you guys heard at least about one on your tours. This one went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. The mansion just happened to be in the way, so only half of it was taken out. The only pictures we have of it are after the fire. The fire was about 70 years after Eliza's death. Close to, it was like 67 years or something crazy. But Eliza, she died at 70 years old in 1793 from breast cancer. So we do get cancer here a lot. Now that's 1793 where there's no such thing as breast cancer yet. So we're going based off of her medical records. So again, it's one of those, when cancer pops up, it's almost like she figured it out through time that that's what she actually had. That was in Philadelphia, which is also where she's buried. It also answers the question on why the cemetery tour doesn't take you to actual cemeteries. You don't get much activity at a cemetery because you're not going to hang out where you're buried after you're gone. You're going to go to your mansion in Charleston. So all of our places tonight, yes, we're going to get close to one cemetery. We'll see what happens from there based on that story. But that's a pretty common one. If you guys did a bulldog tour, it's the Sue Howard Hardy with the photograph. Did you guys already hear that? Oh, every tour in town tells that story. All right, well, then I guess I'll give that one to you guys later. Philadelphia is also relevant because that's where a lot of the presidents are buried. She's buried near a lot of very famous presidents. The president that took her to her grave, that was a pallbearer, was George Washington. I told you I don't like to give you subliminal messages, but I did do that with that specific question. We're not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. That was interesting. You got a lot going on there. So I do play a little word play on that one. That's the only one I do, so don't expect any more. I am the wordsmith. But anyway, so that's an interesting one. The kids, there's 4 of them. 3 boys, 1 girl. Charles, you know, Thomas was in a war and had his leg shattered while he was in the Battle of Camden, just south of here in Beaufort. You guys know Beaufort, right? It's in South Carolina. So he was on a cane for the rest of his days. Funny thing is I normally get people in here where their right leg starts hurting. It was his left leg that actually got shot, which is the weird thing. I've had 2 instances now in the past 6 months. Somebody's right leg immediately starts hurting. The minute they get in here, we leave, they're perfectly fine. Very weird. And then we had baby George. George was named after her father. George didn't make it. George, the death certificate has the birth and the year in the birth and death column. So we don't know if the baby was days or weeks old. Doesn't have a specific date. There's also no grave for George. There's no headstone. We have no idea what happened to the child either. Different times. Who knows what they did with the body. But being named after her father, Eliza's maiden name was Lucas. So what's her father's name? Baby George was named after her father. Her maiden name is Lucas.
George Lucas?
George Lucas. All right. You wouldn't believe how many kids actually ask me that, did Eliza's dad invent Star Wars? I'm like, no, wrong timeline. It's just funny. So it's just an easy way to remember it. So we have 3 Georges, father, son, and the president. So again, I always need to know who the hell I'm talking to before time. So George Washington was before George Lucas's time, or George Lucas. Never mind. Kind of a stretch. What else happened here? What else did we ask? Oh, the first wife, her maiden name was Lamb. So we had 2 L's, Eliza Lamb Pinckney, Eliza Lucas Pinckney. She's the one that planted all the indigo. And that's weird because I do call this the Pinckney Mansion the Site. That was actually the name of the blog and podcast for this episode. I think that about covers all the weird questions. Did you ask anything, Rogue? Pretty much stuck to the questions. Oh, Eliza was 22 when she married Charles, who was 45.
What are you looking at me? Whoa.
So I won't lie, like this was pretty light for this location. I normally get a shit ton more. And we're, I think, 3 days away from a new moon. So hopefully all that stuff will spin for me. I know it doesn't do any good for you guys. So from here, we're actually going to go to Lodge Alley. So if you want to continue listening, I'm going to have you listen for names along the way. I mean, normally with a small group like this, everybody turns it down so we can all chat. Because it is 3 blocks away. It is an actual haunted location. I don't take you guys just to random sites. I put away the millimeter because the parking meters are going to make it go off. So there's no reason for me to use it. You can stop your recording at this point, so hit that.
So I accidentally.
This is normally a dead zone for EMF. I'm going to test it anyway, just to see what we can actually get out of it. But yeah, definitely start your video again so we have more to splice. Let's turn up that spirit box. Let's get close to the building and see what we can get. I'm excited about Anna because it is close, but we'll see if anything else pops up out of it. Must have showed up like super early. What time did you guys get to the...
It was like 22 when we got there.
Okay.
So.
I was gonna say, because it's barely after 10, and I was like, oh snap, like I might have to go discover more and see what else we can do, but I normally make sure there's a minimum of 90 minutes, so that way you guys have a lot of stuff to listen to and stuff like that. But yeah, we can keep getting closer to it if you want. Dead zone for EMF. So if anything happens, it usually, like if I get anything like above that 2.5, it usually means something else is popping up. Let me see the rest of your word list. See what else we got going on there. Pierce. You like James. I'm gonna be looking at Pierce right now just to see if there's anything there. So this is normally business. If you guys want to actually get footage from the front of the building, you can. Exit the lot and head up there. I'm going to do a little digging to try to find it.
Huh? Or the name of the ship or her parents' name.
What is the name of the ship? Her parents' name.
Look. thought you said Jarvis.
No, Harvest. What are the names of your friends? What is the name of the ship? I'm off the kitchen.
Yeah.
How far is it?
Right there. Huh?
What is the name of your ship? What is the name of your parents? Chris.
I heard Chris.
I heard Chris. Was Chris the name of your father? What kind of kids did you have? Boys or girls? So we heard
Chris.
how do you have one back in the day?
Yeah. Christopher Columbus. Duh.
So we did get one name. Chris.
Your name?
Oh, I mean, came through clearly on this little guy.
So there was a Fort Pierce in Florida, apparently close to where Calico Jack and Anne Bonny honeymooned, but Fort Pierce wasn't developed until 1838. Like, that's 120 years later. So I mean, that's not even close. It gets a little high here because the parking meters will still give up a little bit, but it actually went up as I walked away, which is weird. At 3.5. It's pretty steady though. This way it goes down to 0. Steady. Because you're the ghost.
I might be. I mean, we're good here, Chris. I could be a ghost.
You're an expensive ghost.
Chris was not the name of the father's. Was the name of her father either, by the way. What do you have? Reed. Damn it, I thought I said Reed. I was gonna get all stoked. Come on, Ann, give us something. Ann or Mary. I know, it's a lot of history. Seen the, not the history though, like the ghost hunting is bullshit. That's why the stuff on TV,
Oh yeah.
like they don't resolve anything.
Uh-uh.
Like they just end the show. So we captured a picture. Good job. What does it mean? Me and my daughter laugh because they're always asking yes or no questions, and she catches it because she's on the tour all the time. So she's always asking, like, she'll watch a lot of like the YouTubers and stuff. She's 15. So she'll constantly make fun of them because they're asking yes or no questions. I hear her screaming at her computer, "Stop asking yes or no questions!" Senator. And Senator came out pretty loud and clear. Alright, and I'm going to be here another minute. What do you want to tell us? I heard very much, as in like, thank you very much. You got some footage of the front?
Yeah, I was looking at the front of the building and then those like stockade type things over there.
Yeah. I got zeros. Man, some late nights I've had. So, let's go over to the wall. I'll start collecting the stuff. I do want to let the word would keep running for a minute.
This is supposed to be closing.
Huh?
Where's this supposed to be closing?
So when I said I have a full spectrum camera, just kind of give you the gist of this. So this is brand new. So it gives us full spectrum lighting on a long range and a short range. So it's obviously emitting light that only you could see through the type of camera. So if I shut these off,
right,
it gets pretty dark. So we just started using this. We built it for the St. Augustine thing. We're also working on an SLS camera that's the one with all the stick figures in it. It also gives us night vision. I just don't like to draw the attention to the floor. Not to mention people are going to shine people's lights and windows and shit. So, but this guy's pretty new. I've only caught a few pieces with it so far that are unexplainable, but you just never know. That's why we try to work with everything. What questions do you guys have for me before I go through all your data in the morning? So, you guys are leaving tomorrow? Are you doing anything else before you guys leave?
Yeah, we're not really in any rush to go back home. We don't have anything really set in stone on what we're gonna do, but.
So I told you guys about like the laser lights. So what these do is I have somebody holding the lights because I have two different styles, and literally hundreds of pictures are being taken to try to capture something that passes through because you can only see it when something hits it. So again, we have a red grid and this guy. I just bought a tripod for the green one for the lighthouse, so I'm waiting on that. I take the camera,